All right, so welcome to HTML CSS using .xyz domains. The main goal of this workshop is to inform you on how to use .xyz domains through our hacker resource package, and then briefly touch base upon how to code a little bit of HTML and CSS, and we will show you how to code on the .xyz domain a little bit later on. Myself, I'm here first to talk about .xyz domains and how to use it, and then John and Brian will be talking about a little bit about HTML and CSS later on. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions before? Actually, I can share everyone's poll. Everyone seems to be doing great. Oh yeah, I can share the results here. All right. Okay. Before we begin, has everyone have any questions? Actually, I think we're ready to go then. Yeah. So the workshop outline is to go through the steps great and use a domain from .xyz. The main goal really is to just talk about how to use it, and then briefly talk about the uses of the Weebly builder and the HTMLCSS editor, what you could do with it. And then John and Brian will be reviewing HTML/CSS basics, depending on the time that we have at the very end. Yeah, and I'm just gonna screen share our. Sorry, I got the wrong document. Yes, I believe. Can everyone see this document? I'm not sure. Oh yeah, you have a question. So this was so the .xyz domain is for the entire year. I'm not sure if you can all see the document. Can someone tell me if you can? Oh, you can see the document, right? So this is the .xyz support document. So basically, I'll just briefly go over the steps. So .xyz is a domain name, almost like .com, except it's for our sponsor is .xyz. So it's basically the same as any other domain name, and you can basically do whatever you want on it, really. And basically what you can do with our offer, or what you can do for free, is to have a domain from .xyz for free for the entire year, 1 year after the event, basically. Oh, someone have questions. Oh yeah, you don't need to create a website using .xyz. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you can use anything you want. If you do spend money on your hack, then you'll have to mention that in the code, or in your presentation, live presentation. Yeah, so going back to the slideshow. Sorry. We're gonna start by creating a .xyz domain. So basically what I'd like all of you to do is to follow along as we go through each step, I guess, and then message us. I believe John should be here, almost here, if you have any questions or concerns during the process. So step one is to search up your domain. So if you go back to the document, I'll send a document as well, just for everyone to look at it as we go along. Yeah, it's yeah, exactly, Zach. It's $11 a year after that, but the first year is free for everyone. And you can use it for a hackathon. The main goal is for you to use for your hackathon. You can of course use other stuff if you have other stuff, but if you don't, then it's a great opportunity to use it. And .xyz isn't at all a bad domain. Over 2.5 million people, as mentioned over here, use .xyz domains. Yeah, okay, so once you have that open, you can quickly review anything on the document. But what we're focusing on is at the very bottom, the steps on how to register your free .xyz domain. So the first step you should do is go to the website that they have. It's called gen.xyz. And from there, basically you have to search a domain. So for now, what we found in our testing is that you can basically search, you can make a domain for testing, and later on just make a separate email to make another domain for free. But you can't make 2 domains basically with 1 account. So right now, what we'd like you to do is like to test it out. If you have a team already, you can just like make your domain right away. And we'll help you. Basically, this workshop is help you create your domain. So going back to my workshop. So the first thing you should do is choose your domain, right? Choose your domain name. So for general tips is like, for this hackathon, really, you should be deciding on a domain that kind of tackles your theme, the theme really. Yeah. And I guess like a lot of domain names will work, but in general, you want to follow the steps outlined on your screen right there. So step 1 is like use keywords in your domain name search. So this would help with like search engine optimization, and also for people to like remember as well. And then number 2 is to keep your domain name short. Usually a shorter domain is easier to remember. Number 3 is to make it easy to pronounce and spell. Number 4, keep it unique and brandable. So a lot of this stuff is a lot of it's for if you want to take your domain to the next level, right? But for a hackathon, really, this is just for guidelines in the future. If you decide that maybe you want to go into business and you want to start a company, then probably you want to think about your domain name more than a hackathon, really, especially a high school hackathon. So right now, we would suggest you to just follow some basic stuff and just, yeah. So for now, on your screen, those are just tips that you can use. And usually you'll see that a lot of domains end with .com, and you can see that we're using .xyz, which is nice because this is a hackathon, of course. So nobody really cares about your domain at this point, but in the future, those are great tips. So yeah, so we definitely encourage you to research in the future if you're gonna want to buy a domain, I guess. So going on ahead, now we would like you to take a couple seconds to, I guess, research the domain, right? So for testing, we'll help you. So let's say we want to make a domain called, let's say if we want to do a.xyz. Sorry, let's see if that works. Oh, it is available, but it's worth $13,000. So I guess we can't really buy that. So basically we have to search for a domain that is $10, right? So unfortunately, nobody has $13,000 to buy an a.xyz domain. So let's say we want to buy another domain, right? Maybe climate.xyz. And then you can see that it's unavailable. So that's why, going back to the tips, right? Back over here, the tip is that act quickly before someone takes it, right? So a lot of times you'll realize that a lot of domains already taken, right? For example, cars.com is already taken. And I'm pretty sure it was sold for a lot. So anyways, let's say you want to do myclimate.xyz. So now you add well, I guess you could either search it or you could add it from there. But let's say you want to search it as well. Now you got it, right? So now you add it. Is anybody on this step yet? Oh yeah, okay, so that's a great question. So can you change your domain name after we add the domain name? So yeah, unfortunately you can't. You kind of buy it for a year, and it's listed on domain sites as under yourself for the year. So yeah, that's unfortunate. But another thing you can do is just make another domain with a separate account. I believe you can only use 1 account per free domain. So yeah, that's that part. And then basically you go to checkout. And in our experience, it takes around, sorry, this one's $39,000. So we're not going to buy that one. Sorry. And then also you have to, for example, we were a yacht one right here, but let's say I want to keep this one, right? So I actually added one already. So let's say I want to do myclimate.xyz. So going back to the instructions, we got to make it 1 year. So did everyone have a chance to pick their domain? Anybody having trouble with that? Oh, you don't have access to the document. Great. Sorry, maybe you don't. Yeah. All right, let's share it. Sorry, maybe, yeah. No, you have access to the document, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I didn't share it to everyone. That's why. All right, that's why. I shared it to only a couple of people. The host. Yeah, so once you're on that page, you can also find this on our Hacker resource package, which I'll also send. And Hacker resource package basically has every single thing that we're offering for free, including 1Password.xyz, EchoAR, Cascade, Wolfram, Centered, and Sushido. And of course, we got links at the very bottom for other free resources that you can use. We highly recommend like going through the NY hackathons one and the Hack North resource packages because they have a lot of great stuff there as well. Okay, so did everyone have a chance to pick a good domain? Anybody have trouble with that? Hopefully not. All right, great. So after that, step 2 is to change the term length to 3 years. Sorry. Oops. Sorry. Let me try to find it. Oops. Where did it go? All right, going back to the cart. So I think, oh yeah, right here. So now I go to next recommended add-ons. So I make sure it's $10 US dollars. And then from here, I can add the recommended add-ons. So if you want to keep it free, which we recommend, you would do yes for this one. Basically G Suite is like Google Workspace. And it's like Google, you can use Google's professional email, calendars, and like stuff like Google Drive right on there for $60 per user per month. But for now, I don't think that's really necessary. So we're just gonna select no thanks. And then we're gonna use the Weebly plan for now. And you can change it to HTMLCSS later. So, and then you go to next information checkout. And then from here, basically you have, okay, let's go back to the, sorry, to the document right here. And then you confirm checkout, right? Is everyone on that step yet? Anybody have trouble yet there? Oh yeah, the address. Oh yeah, that's true. Don't worry though, don't worry. Yeah, I'm using, I believe, yeah, I'll just double check. I'll just double check that I'm not showing my address. Oh, okay, let me check. Maybe not. All right. All right, that's true. That's true. Okay. Okay, so once you're there, basically you select, you input your address. If you, okay, so I'll just actually go to step 4 immediately. So you add that on, and then input the promo code. So I'll copy the promo code, send it to everyone. Sorry, that's true. I didn't turn on. So, how did I don't, yeah. That's the promo code. So once you enter that, the address thing, I mean the apply code, is everyone on that stuff? Is everyone, has everyone like gotten that stuff yet? Yeah. All right, great. Great, you chose your domain, great. Great. All right, now you can input your details. For this tip, if you need it, then you can ask us. Just email info@xex.com. Right now, I don't think we have it right on me. I need to like send all the info because we don't want you to like input the wrong stuff as well, because it might interfere with this part right here. But if you're comfortable, you can definitely use your own email address or address and other address. I mean, like your parents if you want, if you feel safer. Or you can do it after the event if you want. Yeah, and then input that part. And then this part is like Oh yeah, you got a question there. So could you change your domain? Yeah. So you can't really change your domain after you choose it. What we recommend you do is just to like create another account and then use the same link to like create another domain really. Yeah. And okay, so step 7 is to select PayPal. So you don't even need any payment information. Is everyone on step 7 yet? Let me just go to step 7. So you input your payment. Yeah, great. Okay. Just make sure to agree. It should say $0. So if it doesn't say $0, that's unfortunate. But it should say $0. Input PayPal and then it should be $0 and then submit order. Great. Okay, and then as soon as you do that, it should take around an hour to 2 hours to get a verification code. Or not really verification, you get yours verified. You should have like an email that goes directly to you. Yeah, and then basically once that's set up, right, all right, and then basically once that's set up, I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. And then I'll briefly talk about what you can do with .xyz. Sorry. All right, so here it is. For example, we got Climate Code 2021 domain that we purchased earlier. Basically, you'll get 4 or 5 emails. Oh, you can have a yeah, like it's $11. It says $10, but it's 11, and it gives you the protection as well. So don't switch off the protection. Yeah. Okay, so from here, we can see you should have it like active within like 2 to 3 hours. In our experience, it's 2 to 3 hours. So right now it should say pending, but if it doesn't like change in 2 to 3 hours, then it's probably because there are like some problems with their activation. Yeah. Okay, so from there, you're gonna have to, you have like options now. Okay, so basically this means that yours is active basically. So if I go to like the link, great. All right. So you'll see that it should say like it's unavailable. So that's expected because you haven't launched it. So basically after you launch it, it should work. So for now, right now, you can manage it, of course. And you can also launch it basically. So there's 2 things you can do. Managing, not much you can do really. Yeah, you can see that it expires in a year. And you can renew it for $10, I believe, or something like that. And you got like the safety stuff for $1, so that's great. And then once you launch it, sorry. All right, after you launch it, you should get to this page. I don't think anybody should be on this page unless you started really early. And then you can edit the site. And then from here, I'll briefly talk about what you do with Weebly. So Weebly is like there are 2 things you can really do. So you'll be prompted to pick a theme. And a theme is like I don't know if you've ever used a website builder, but it gives you like a bunch of great themes to like just start off with really. For a hackathon, it depends on what you're trying to make, but if you're going for like basic stuff really, you can start with a custom theme. But you can do a lot of stuff. And we recommend you just choose one of these. Or you could just code it all yourself, which is actually what we actually recommend. So if you don't choose a theme, you can just go to theme and then go to the very bottom, and then at there you can see like edit HTML/CSS. And then this is basically where you can like edit all the stuff. And I believe .xyz comes in with some like built-in stuff. So especially the theme, so you'll have to just either if you're trying to like code it yourself, you'll probably have to like delete all of the code and just paste your like own code, or you just code it off here. I don't think it's the best to code it right off of .xyz. If you're like coding it line by line, probably do it somewhere else. Yeah, and then basically what's cool about HTML and CSS is when John gets here, let me just check if he's here. John and Brian. Sorry, let me just find it. Sorry. All right, yeah. So promote panels. So John's here. Let me just check if Brian's here. Yeah, and then so basically from here you can code your HTML and CSS. Yeah, and then you can like basically look through all the images, change the images here if you want. Like basically you can do whatever you want. And it's kind of like coding. Yeah, this counts as coding, definitely. And you can basically look at a ton of stuff if you're interested in like how a website looks. Also, another thing you can do if you're interested in like why this is like this, you can also look at our website, and it's also coded in HTML and CSS. Basically, all websites are coded in HTML and CSS. So, like for example, our own website, you can inspect element. So the easiest way to go in Google Chrome is to go to more tools and developer tools, and then you can like inspect elements and stuff. And it's basically HTML and CSS here. Well, it is, yeah. Hopefully that makes sense. And then obviously, if you choose not to use like code, which I hopefully some of you do, but some of you obviously won't, then you can also use the, oops. Sorry. You can also use the, yeah, it takes a lot of load. You can use the left side here. There's the, I don't know how you would call this. You'd call this like block building or something. And you can just add the stuff you want, basically whatever you want. And it's also coding, I guess. Yeah. And the only thing about the free thing is that you'll have like a small thing at the very bottom. Right here it says that it'll have like .xyz branding at the very bottom. Yeah, and then you should have an email in 1 to 2 hours regarding your if it's verified. Yeah, basically if it's verified, then great. If it's not, then you can message one of us and we'll try to figure it out for you. And with that, I believe I went through all of .xyz's document. Let me just show it all to you. So there are some FAQs, common FAQs if it doesn't work. In our experience, it might take a little bit longer than 2 to 3 hours. So if that's the case, what you can do is just code on a separate document or file really, or project folder, and then put your code later on your domain. Another option is just to not use .xyz, which is also possible. There are other free alternatives out there. Perhaps not as nice as .xyz though. But .xyz is our recommended domain for our event. And it also gives you access to the prize, I believe, for best website if you choose to use the .xyz. Well, I guess any website, if you can design the best website of the hackathon, then you'll get that prize. Yeah, does anyone have any questions? Oh, so we got a question. Are we able to change the domain name once we register? No, you can't really change the domain name. So if you search it up, domain names are you'll find that you have to register a domain name. That's why it isn't automatic, right? You have to register your domain name. Yeah. So that's why you can't really change it. You can just make another one really if you want to change it. And do you get a free year of .xyz with time code? Yeah, so using our promo code, you get a free year of domain name. Yeah. Oh yeah, are there any other questions? Let's see. Sorry, I'm just. Oh, there are other questions. Let's see. Okay, so many questions. All right. If PayPal doesn't work. Oh, sorry. Oh, you don't need to have PayPal. Just if you click PayPal, you don't have to input any info. Where will be the recording of the webinar? For the opening ceremony, we're working on like uploading it right now. And for this one, I believe it'll be uploaded by the end of the day. Oh yeah. So this part, Ankit, don't worry about the credit card. Select PayPal, and then once there, you'll be able to just you don't even need to use PayPal. For limit of domains, I believe there isn't. Yeah, there. I don't believe there is. As long as you don't, please don't buy like spend the entire hackathon buying domain names. Yeah, or like using our promo code to get as many as possible. We might get in trouble. So we recommend only buying applying the code to the number that you'll actually use. Right, yeah. You can try it out, see how many you can do, and tell us. Try not to go overboard with it though. And then from I don't know how to spell your name. I don't know how to answer the question. I don't speak that language. Sorry, I'm really sorry. And then oh yeah, so basically what happens after 1 year of like the domain name is it just like expires. So yeah, your information on there will delete. Yeah. Basically, it's like searching an invalid link, basically. For example, if you search a random list of letters, for example, just type in random stuff. It's gonna show that site. Basically, the site cannot be reached. And if you buy the domain that I just sent, then you can reach the site. Yeah. Oh, there's still questions. I'm not sure the question for that one. Oh, what will happen? Yeah, someone else can buy it. Yeah, exactly, Zach. Where can you find the recordings? Yeah, they'll be posted on Discord. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think everyone should get an email if you submitted your domain. You can, of course, take your time and read through a document and then submit it again with your like preferred domain. And then once you do that, you should get an email immediately saying that it's confirmed. And then in 2 to 3 hours, you should get another email saying like you can start using it, and then you can start designing right off there. And with that, I'm gonna pass it off to John, who's gonna briefly talk about. Oh, there's one more question. Yeah, for sure. Post your .xyz domain sites on the Discord once you get them. Yeah, and then John will talk about HTML and CSS, some review, so that you can start writing some code if you are interested in that stuff. Sorry, and stop share.
All right, so hello everyone. I am one of the IT directors at XTX Mini Vancouver. And I'm just going to show you and walk you through one of the features of XYZ where you can implement or put in your own code. So I'm just going to share my screen. Can you guys see it? Okay, I hope you guys can see it.
Yeah, we can see it. We can see it.
Okay, so this might look very intimidating, but this is coding on XYZ is actually a good practice because you're not always going to be using this website to actually create a website. If you want a career in web development as a developer, then it's a really good practice for you to code here so that you can get a sense of what HTML CSS is like. And it's also, it might be a good practice to use the drag and drop feature of XYZ, but coding it will actually get you further or help you get a better understanding of HTML and CSS. So the file structure is that first you have the HTML, which are these three files, and then you have the styles, which are just CSS, and CSS is just cascading style sheets, which are used for styling HTML, so styling texts or pretty much styling anything. And then you have the JavaScript, which you don't really need to worry about as a beginner because it can be a little bit complicating. So we're not going to worry about the .js here. So once you're on this page and you click the edit HTML and CSS, I'm just going to delete all of this because it looks a little bit complicating. And I'm just going to start from scratch. So usually when you start with HTML, what you would see is just this. This is the general structure, and I'm just going to explain it quickly. So the doc type HTML and HTML, these tags are declaring that this module is using the programming language HTML. And then inside this HTML tags, there are two tags. So there's the head tag, which are this, and then the body tag. So the head tag has and contains all the information about the browser, such as the title, and then the meta tags, which is like the port, like it's like ports and stuff that you don't really need to worry about. And then the body tag is what's more important. So here you'll put all the structure of the website. So like texts, headings, and all the structure of the skeleton of the website. So let's start coding some stuff since we don't have a lot of time. So I'm just gonna code something and then I'm just gonna explain it to you guys. So we first have a div tag, and by the way, all tags have an opening tag and a closing tag. So all tags have to have this in order to make an element. So you need a tag which are wrapped inside this like symbols, and then you close it off with a slash. So inside here, I can really type any text and then it should display. It's not this. Okay. I don't know why it's not this. I'll reload this.
Also, another thing is that you might want to turn on in the future, you want to also have version control, which is another big aspect. So for example, in this case where the code doesn't even save, right?
So okay, let's try again. So this is
Oh yeah, you have to save the code. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So this is the p tag, which stands for paragraph, and this is just plain text that you would display on the website. So I'll just say hello world, and then as you can see, it displays. And then there's also headers, so which are h1, and then you put hello world. And this is just a header, which just displays a bigger text like this. And here, if you can see here, there's different types of headers. So there's h1 and then h2, h3, and then as the number increases, the text just gets smaller. And you might want to use these depending on the your situation. And then, as I said, there's a div tag, which is a container. So, and I'll just tell you why this is useful. So I'll just incorporate some CSS here, and I'll just say class. I'll explain this quickly what this is. So container. So all I'm doing is basically giving a class attribute of container. So then this is kind of like a name of a container. so I can reference it in my CSS. So to style these texts, I would actually put style text in the head section. Make sure you put them in the head section for them to work. And now I can reference this class container. So I'm gonna go dot container, and dot is for referencing classes. So I'm just gonna go width of 300 pixels, which gives it a width of 300 pixels, and then a height of 300 pixels. So now it starts to kind of change, but we don't see it. So I'll kind of put a background black, which is going to give it a background of black. So width 300 pixels, height 300 pixels, and I gave it a background of black. And then one problem is I can't really see the text here because this is gray. I can't see it well. So what I would do is put color, which can be confusing because you have background and then color. But what color does is change the color of the text and the text only. So I'll put white. I should change it to white. And why I use this container instead of just putting style color white is because if I have like multiple texts here, I don't want to style every single one of them. I don't want to give it a class for every single one of them and then style every single one of them. That's going to increase the code size, which is going to affect performance. And also it's more repetitive and redundant. So all I'm doing is taking this container and putting one color white that affects all the text inside a container. Now, what if I want to change the border radius of the container? So that's kind of like, what if I want to make this kind of a circle? Then all I want to do is just put border radius of 10 pixels. That's going to shave off the containers like this. And then I could also want to center all these texts because this doesn't really look well. So here is where something called a Flexbox comes in. And a Flexbox is just a layout model that you use to arrange and lay the elements inside a container. So I'll just say display flex, which is going to declare that it's a Flexbox. And then I'm going to say justify content center, which is going to center the elements in the X direction. And then I'm going to say align items center, which is going to center the items in the Y direction. So like this. And then this is a row. So to arrange this into a column, I'll just say flex direction, which is going to change the direction of the container, and then say column. And I should set it to like this. And in default, this is actually set to row into default, but if you want a column, you just change it to column, right? And then we're kind of running out of time, so I'll just show you guys animations. So if you want to do animations in CSS, generally you use something called keyframes. Or actually, I'll show you hover first. So this is a hover effect that you would use a lot in HTML and CSS and in web development. So you would reference the container that you want to hover. So in this case, it's the class container. And I would say colon and then hover. And then I'm going to say background red. So when I hover over this element, it's going to change the background. So yeah. And then and this is another animation that's used a lot in CSS is like the float. So what if I want to float this element up and down? I would say, I'll first make something called keyframes. So you do add keyframes, and then you put the animation name that you want. So this can be any name. And I'll put brackets. And inside there, I'm just going to put like the sequence. So like the order of the animation. So first I'm going to put 0%, which means at the start of the animation. And then I'm going to put 50%, which is halfway into the animation. And I'm going to put 100%, which is pretty much at the end of the animation. So to make this float, I would say transform, translate y, which is pretty like similar to like math, where in transformation of graphs. So you do 2 pixels translate y, which is going to translate it in the vertical direction. And then you just kind of copy this here. Like this. And if you know in like math, I don't know what grades you guys are in, but if you know like the vertical transformation of graphs, when you move it up, it's a positive, and then when you move it down, it's negative. So if I want to move it up and down, I want to transition it at one point where it moves down. So at the halfway into the animation, I'll put negative to change the direction. So lastly, to declare the animation and make this happen, inside the container where you want the animation, you put animation and then say float, which is the name of the animation. And then you put 3 seconds, which is the duration of the animation. And then you put ease in and out, which allows a smooth transition. And then you put infinite because you want it to happen all the time. So I don't know if you guys can see, but it's floating. And I'm just going to increase the pixels to make it more obvious. So it's kind of floating like that. So this is a good way to animate things, because usually in a website you want to animate. And this way, using code, using HTML and CSS, you can actually customize and add features that are not provided by the XYZ. And then you can add your own features. So this is really helpful, not only if you want to become a developer or want to practice HTML and CSS, but to add your own features. So I think this should be the end for HTML and CSS. And yeah, if Victor wants to take over,
Yeah,
that should
that's
be
great. I think that's great. Can you show us oh yeah, that's good then. I think we went through a lot of stuff. There's also the video that we ran for the pre-event workshop. It's on YouTube. Has like more basic stuff as well. Goes more in depth.